This is Tony. And Tony is an amazing young man. He's a father to 2 beautiful children.
Yeah.
He has a job and he works really hard. He recently got baptised. Okay, this is all sounding really great. But life wasn't always like that, was it?
It definitely wasn't. As a child, I was a child in school that was always in trouble. Thought I had loads of friends, but I didn't. They just wanted to stand behind me, do what they wanted to do, and I would take the fall for it. So I definitely wasn't always, like Beck was saying, I was quite the opposite.
So it said at 7, because you'd had problems at school, behaviour and problems like actually when you're learning as well, and at 7 you got a diagnosis of ADHD and dyslexia.
Yeah, I did. Not much different.
Okay. So things are still... And you talked to me about that you were very angry. You know, at home it was difficult.
Yep.
And that, you know, your parents fought a lot and you felt stuck in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like when I was at home, it was so much harder than being at school, because I felt like at school I didn't care about anyone, about the teachers. So if I was disturbing at school, it wasn't a problem. But I was at a place where I loved being at home, but I was just at home and I was in between so much arguing and fighting. It just didn't feel like home. Yeah. So I eventually just decided that even though I was at home, I'd just isolate myself from my own family.
Mm-hmm. So being angry, and you said, like, you know, you get into trouble, and people around you might think that you didn't care, but actually you cared quite a lot.
Yeah, and I just didn't know how to express what I wanted to express, so I thought I was expressing the right way, but I wasn't.
Yeah. And around that time as well, we were in COVID, and so we were in lockdown. So you couldn't even really go and get help and support from anyone, so you locked yourself away. Now, you had quite negative, you told me you had quite negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And you felt bad, and you even mentioned that you wanted to end it. But it wasn't just a thought, was it?
No. So it was, like Beck said, it was during lockdown, and I'd been feeling this sort of emotion for a long time. And it got to one night, and it was late, and I was like, I've had enough of it. I don't want to be here no more. I don't feel like I'm worthy to be here anymore. So I took myself to a train station. I climbed down onto the tracks. I looked up, and I see a train. And at that time, I just thought, it's all going to be done soon. I have no stress. I just want this train to hurry up. And I'm stood there, and I'm thinking, it's getting closer. And I think a lot of people would then start thinking, actually, I need to get off. But I just felt so at peace, and like I felt like I was in the right spot, and I just stood there and I was waiting. And maybe from me to Nick, the train was, and I felt a shove. Shoved me off the track, and I was like, okay, so I got up, like you do, thinking, oh, I'll just wait for the next train, no worries. But when I looked up, there was no one there. So it kind of stopped me in my track, and I was like, well, I didn't jump out of the way. So who was it? What was it? And I didn't know.
Now, we would say God moved him off the train track. But you didn't have a faith at that time.
No.
But you had a family member that was a Christian.
Yeah.
So what did he do?
He prayed for me, and he was trying to encourage me to come to church and read the Bible. And I just looked at him and laughed and said, me? No, never. Definitely ain't me.
Yeah. But he didn't give up. How long did he try and get you to come to church?
For about 3 years.
Persistence, you know, patience, didn't give up. 3 years is a long time. Now, eventually, you did come.
Yeah.
You told me that it was like you suddenly just went, I'm going to go.
Yeah, he asked me again to come, as he was doing consistently, and for some reason, this time it just felt a little bit different. And he said, look, if you want to come, come. And there wasn't that was on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and the whole week went by, and I didn't hear from him once. So I was like, yes, he's forgot. I haven't got to go. And it was until that Sunday I woke up and I said to Hayley, my partner, I'm going to go to church. I don't know what made me want to come. I don't know where this feeling come from, because the Saturday before, I definitely wasn't following in Jesus, making wrong decisions. So I woke up and I said, no, I'm going to go. And I come in and I sat down and I had the most weight on my shoulders I've ever felt. I didn't even think, without holding anything, you could feel so much weight. But I did. I felt so much weight on that day.
You told me that God said something to you with that, feeling that pressure. You said that you wanted to just cry, which was not what you wanted to do.
Absolutely not.
But God spoke to you. And what did he say?
He just said to me, this is for everything that you've done wrong that you feel, and every burden that you carry and all the stuff you've gone through. I'm just going to take your weight now, just so you can feel relieved and to know that I'm with you. And that's what you've done.
So the weight just disappeared?
Just completely disappeared.
So the weight was lifted. What difference did that make to you?
It definitely opened my eyes to Jesus a lot more, but still I thought, maybe a coincidence. But I felt more encouraged to come, because I had encountered this bit at first, and I thought, right, if he can do it on my first occasion, then I want to see what more he's got for me. So I carried on coming, and I'm still here now after a year.
You told me 4 different areas that you'd seen God do something for you. One was emotions.
Yep.
That you said that you felt happier.
Yep.
And that you were able to before, which is, some people say that's part of your can't speak, anything. The ADHD is it's difficult to identify emotions in yourself and in other people.
Yeah.
And you were worried about making mistakes.
A lot. So I'd have a conversation with someone and they could be right in front of me crying their eyes out, and I wouldn't know how to react to them. I wouldn't know to be compassionate, to be strong and to encourage them. And I just didn't want to speak to no one, because I didn't want to feel like I was saying something wrong and it be miscommunicated. So me and Grant prayed on it for healing and to be able to read emotions and present emotions correctly, and he's changed that for me, and I can do that now.
Amazing. Right. You talked about right at the beginning about the anger and things that you felt. Still angry?
No, to get me angry, it takes a lot. And even when I feel like I'm getting to that point of where I'm going to explode, I just go, God, just take this anger away. And it's the first thing I turn to, and it just instantly disappears and right back to the bottom of the scale.
You said about impacting your relationships, that because of the anger and the stuff that had impacted your relationships. I loved it. One of the things that you'd said to me was that people who knew you before would have said that you were a horrible person.
100%.
Not nice, angry.
Yep.
And what do they say now?
So it was a question I actually had asked my mum since coming to church. I said, Mum, how do you feel? How do you think I've changed since coming to church? And she went, you're so much more talkative to everyone. You're helpful. You're consoling the people. And I said, but do you think that's made me a better person? And she goes, yeah, I do. I said, but why? And she goes, because the person that we knew before for the last 13 or so years wouldn't care about that. She'd see someone just get robbed or something and just walk on and just not care. But now when they see stuff like that, I feel more compelled to interact or to help after, or whenever it comes to that point where I can help, I just feel compelled to help through the name of Jesus.
That's good. And the last one was, you've got an outlook on life.
Yeah.
God saved your life.
He did.
And you said to me that you know that he has a plan for you.
Yeah, I do. So my outlook on life was I'll end up in prison or dead, doing a lot of wrong, maybe causing a lot of harm to others. And it was only until I started coming to church that I realised that wasn't my plan. The plan he had for me was to be someone that could help, someone that can spread the word of Jesus, and someone that can also show that no matter how far a scale you go, there's always a way back.
Mm-hmm. Stay there, don't move yet.
Okay,
Don't move yet. Right, one of God's promises to us is that he says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Thank you, Tony, for sharing this testimony. That God has shown that he definitely has a plan for you. You know, even when you thought it was over, that's his plan. And this is another way that we can see that Jesus changes everything.
Thank you.